Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight. We got a fun show for you this evening. Still reacting, of course, to the Broncos' loss to the Tennessee Titans, but we'll start leaning forward a little bit to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The NFL calendar does not wait, Ben. So what I want to get into in this one, as we start to turn the page just a bit to the Steelers, I want to talk a little bit about the Pro Football Focus numbers that were related to the Broncos' loss to the Titans. Something jumped out to me when I took a look at this, because we knew about the fact that the Broncos didn't give up any sacks in the game with Drew Lock out there. That's something you certainly can build off of. Garrett Bowles was the highest graded offensive lineman, and he gave up only one hurry, one pressure the entire night. Guess who was next? Elijah Wilkinson. So for all the people freaking out, again, Pro Football Focus, not always when we get to the numbers, sometimes they can be a little bit back and forth. Some people don't always agree. I'm just saying, for their numbers, they had the two highest graded offensive linemen as Garrett Bowles and Elijah Wilkinson. What does that tell you?
That tells me there's improvement there. I would say that from my personal study of this, I thought that Garrett Bowles had a pretty good game overall. So in that portion of it, I'm in agreement. I thought there was one play that I was really like, oof, that was really bad from him. The rest of it, I thought he had a good night. He did get away with one hold last night they didn't call. That was pretty egregious. I saw it, but he got away with it. So, I guess that doesn't count. Elijah had a couple of plays that I felt like, I understand you said the second highest graded. I don't know how Reisner didn't get that, but
Reisner was third.
Okay. Reisner was spot on. There was a couple of plays from Elijah. He got speed rushed off the edge, and that's been the knock on Elijah as a tackle. He struggles with the speed rush. He got speed rushed off the edge. I think it was Harold Landry, not 100%.
I remember that.
And that was a problem. And then there was another play I saw where he set his stance coming out when his kick slide. He set his stance out too wide, and whoever the defender was at the time, I think it was Simmons. I'm not sure. It was one of their defensive linemen. It wasn't the outside linebacker. Spun back on him, and he was set too wide to be able to recover. And it caused a hurry on the play. But them being graded highly by Pro Football Focus says that at least they mostly had good games, or theoretically at least they mostly had good games. The fact that they didn't give up any sacks to me says that they probably had a decent game. Which to me is a good thing. Maybe these guys are finally starting to get it. I think that Garrett Bowles was never going to get the fifth-year option as an offensive tackle anyway, simply because they weren't going to pay him that much money. When their contract extension comes up, he's going to get a better deal as far as that goes, a more team-friendly deal. So that was never – I just wanted to see him get it. And it looks like, hopefully, that what he did over the last 5 games last year starting to carry over to this year, and all those people's tackle bro, everybody out there that was hating on Garrett Bowles, I'd do some tweet deleting.
Well, certainly – I think that it's worth pointing out, and it's worth kind of a conversation here about the mobility of Drew Lock and how much this helps the offensive line versus last year, the start of the year with Joe Flacco back there. They gave up 3 sacks in the opener to Oakland. And it just seemed like that was a problem all year long. You say, okay, well, if they can give up under 5 sacks, they have a good chance of not putting themselves too far down in distance.
And I think that it's a testament to Drew Lock's ability to naturally feel how much time he has to slide around in the pocket, have the quick feet, buy time, and move on. Joe, the Iron Stallion Flacco last year was not exactly the most mobile guy, and certainly didn't naturally feel the rush. So it obviously improved last year when Lock got in there again. Lock was he was tied with Drew Brees for the least sacked quarterbacks per drop back in the NFL last year, continuing that trend again this year.
By the way, actually best grade in pass blocking was actually Melvin Gordon.
That made sense.
But that's one of the reasons he's here.
And shout out, he got hurt, but Phil Lindsay had one play where he picked up a pass block on the backside. I pointed out to you while we were watching that game in the studio.
He got a high grade on
night.
that, actually.
I was just say Phil Lindsay, for his size and the knock on him being able to pass block, man, he picked up a big time pass block last night.
Yeah, and I also want to point out here for the offensive grade before we switch over to the defensive side, Tyree Cleveland. He only got 5 snaps, but they really liked he was the number 1 graded offensive player on here. But again, that goes to show you that it doesn't necessarily matter how many snaps. Noah Fant ended up number 6. Offensive linemen in general for the Broncos all finished with top marks. So I feel like there's just things to build off of. It doesn't necessarily mean you have everything fixed, but for all the hand-wringing that went into this offseason about the offensive line and how it's going to let this team down, at least in the first game, that wasn't the reason they lost.
No, it was a strength and not a liability. And for all you say it, for all the pearl clutching and the hand wringing, there's a solid foundation to build on here. That's what they need to be doing, is building on that foundation, not blowing the foundation up and starting over.
On the defensive side of the ball, there's no surprise here. Alexander Johnson was your number 1 rated guy, and I thought he absolutely balled out. He was everything you'd hope to have at that position. Once again, man, you kind of, it feels like you fell backwards into this just a little bit because last year Josie Jewell was the starter next to Todd Davis. Josie got hurt. It put Alexander Johnson in, changed the entire trajectory of the defense. And now this year, and by the way, Josie had a good game too. But
he really did.
Alexander Johnson is exactly the kind of guy they need on this team, and he is showing out.
Yeah, what's the old adage? Better be lucky than good. Sometimes you get both. I think that, he did. I only remember one kind of missed assignment from him yesterday. It was a pass play that he should have had Jonnu Smith on, or he should have been more outside in the zone, and he kind of got sucked in on the play action a little bit. But other than that, he was everywhere, flying around. I can't remember how many tackles he had, but it seemed like he was in on every play, and if not, around the ball on every play. So he has been a major addition to this defense since he came on last year.
Number 2 for the defense was Michael Jamudia, who ended up seeing 64 snaps out of a total of 81. He played a major role. I think his role would have been pretty big either way.
He was the nickel. I mean, he was scheduled to be the nickel, the heavy nickel guy. And when Bouye went out, well, then he was just going to be the other guy. You know, I one of the other things, and I like what Jamudia did. Obviously, the interception got taken off the board due to the penalty. But I want to give a quick shout out to Bryce Callahan, a guy who's basically my size, out there squaring up with Derrick Henry. I want no part of that. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry could be around in the corner in the mall, and I'm getting out of his way, much less being on a football field with a full head of steam.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. And, you saw him finish in the top 5. A shout-out really quick, Sam Martin.
Oh,
had a fantastic
might have been
day.
player of the game. It's rare you say that about your punter, but he might have been player of the game.